Hi, well, I realise I've got a psychology exam tomorrow. Well, I knew that already, but I just kind of finally realised. And I realised I still wasn't 100% on daycare and like positive peer relations and aggression and yeah, all the studies into that. So I made up a little song. I guess if you're looking things up on YouTube the day before the night before the exam, you're kind of stressing too. So hopefully this will help you too. So I only briefly re-skim over them all. It's just to help me remember so I can develop them. So this is about daycare and the studies into it. If I want to look at positive peer relation, I look at Vandell and all his child observations. He says that quality daycare is always good. Well, poor daycare kids will be aggressive in the hood. If I look at positive peer relation and aggression also, you see Field, who's like Vandell, but I guess more so. He said full-time quality daycare was always best. It meant kids were less aggressive, popular, and the rest. But negative effects on relations are always there. Violata and Russell and over 20 hours of daycare, they say that affects social development. For peer relationships, it's better, the less time spent. Belsky et al. Looked at bad aggression and breaking the rules because those in daycare showed more behaviour in primary school. Bad behaviour in primary school, teachers said those who spent over 30 hours turned mean. Under 10 hours, only 6% aggression was seen. Lasted least peer relations and aggression than both. Violata, who looked at full-time versus half-day preschool the most, because between 2.5 and 4.5, full-time kids weren't great, but half-time kids could play and were less aggressive with their mates. So just to go over that, because it was kind of fast. Vandell looked at like he served children, and he said that quality daycare was like good, and quality daycare is like not a high teacher turnover, things like that, and like a low, I think it's low child to staff ratio. So he said that if it's quality daycare, children always be less aggressive. And like they'll be nice basically, and they'll have like good peer relations and things. But if you go to poor daycare, obviously that's, Vandell said that's not good. He said they would be like less socially competent with their friends, because good daycare children have like more friendly interactions and things with their friends. Field is like Vandell, but he looks really at aggression a bit more in children. He says that full-time daycare was like positively related to better social relationships during the early teens, and like those who went to full-time daycare were rated more attractive and popular, had higher self-esteem, less aggression, greater leadership and assertive skills. So obviously if they went to poor quality daycare, they were like not very, more aggressive, less popular, stuff like that. But then there's also negative effects like that were looked at more. Violata and Russell said that if you had over 20 hours of daycare a week, you spent time in it, that affected your social development. So it's better like the less time spent. Like daycare has a negative effect on social development, and that is like mostly seen if you go over 20 hours a week. Belsky et al. Looked at bad aggression and like negative effects of daycare and aggression, and they said that more time children spent in daycare, the more likely they were to show aggressive behaviours during early primary school years. And he gave like a quiz to teachers and mothers and other carers, and they rated the behaviour of the children in their sample, and those who had spent over 30 hours a week in daycare, they said 17% were rated as being aggressive towards their peers, whereas those who spent less than 10 hours a week in daycare, only 6% were less aggressive than their peers. In the last paragraph, the last little bit of the song, was about Viestra. I'm not quite sure how to say his name. He looked at like full day versus half day daycare at children aged between 2.5 and 4.5 years, and he judged that he found that teachers judged those in full daycare were less able to get on with their peers, but they were also more aggressive than children who only spent like half a day in daycare. So that's all about daycare and things. I can say the song one more time, and I've also put it in the description so you can like try and learn it. It helps me. So this is the song again. If I want to look at positive peer relation, I look at Vandell and all his child observation. He says that quality daycare is always good, or poor daycare kids will be aggressive in the hood. If I look at positive peer relation and aggression, also you see Field. She's like Vandell, but I guess more so. He said full-time quality daycare was always best. It meant kids were less aggressive, popular, and the rest. But negative day effects on relations are always there. Violata and Russell, and over 20 hours of daycare, they say that affects social development. For peer relationships, it's better the less time spent. Belsky et al. Looked at bad aggression and breaking the rules, because those in daycare show more bad behaviour in primary schools. Teachers said those who spent over 30 hours turned mean. Under 10 hours, only in 6% aggression was seen. Last and least, peer relations and aggression than both. Liestra, who looked at full versus half-day preschool the most, because between 2.5 and 4.5, full-time kids weren't great, but half-time kids could play and were less aggressive with their mates. So, good luck with your psychology exam, ACE exam, tomorrow, in January. No one will probably see this, I just made it because it helps me. So, good luck, bye.